Rolling and action.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We are back.
Mm-hmm.
This is the behind the scenes footage of Going the Distance with NikoRox. We
NikoRox.
are shooting our
Seventh
podcast, the seventh episode.
episode.
We are moving along, people,
Yeah.
moving along. We welcome you back, and we are going to jump right into it
Straight in.
and enjoy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Going the Distance with NikoRox. I'm your host, Roxanne, aka Roxizzle, and I'm joined by my husband and co-host with the most, Nikolai Rowe.
We are in the house, people. What's going on?
Going the Distance podcast is a space where we share our personal story and the ins and outs of long distance dating.
That is correct.
Mhm.
Boo, you said it so eloquently.
Thank you. And if you don't know, now you know.
To catch you up to speed, guys, the last episode, if you missed it, we had just met with our attorney, and I had filed the first piece of documentation to get the visa process started.
Mm-hmm.
It was about a $500
Fee.
a filing fee,
Yep.
to get it started. And now the process has officially begun. This was in January
2017.
2017. And
we were in Los Angeles. Yasmin and I were in Los Angeles when we met with the attorney. But by the time we went back to Cape Town, you had started that first step of the process.
correct. And at this moment, we were preparing for this first approval to take a little bit of time. I think our attorney had told us it was going to be about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And so, because this is the beginning stages, we were just excited to get the process started. We had been talking about this for over a year. So the fact that we actually have put things into motion, we were just really excited about that. And because we had a rough estimate of how long it was going to take, we kind of just went on with our lives as,
business as usual.
Exactly. Business as usual.
Because we were prepared.
We were prepared, exactly.
That's why.
And so then around, I would say June, we started to get a little antsy.
Yeah.
I started to email the attorney a little more frequently and trying to figure out what's going on. She wasn't giving me the information I was looking for. Still, everything was pending. Everything was filed accordingly. There weren't any issues with how we filed the paperwork. So it really was just a waiting game. And my birthday was coming up. And I'm not a big birthday person. Traditionally, I've celebrated all the monumental birthdays.
Which are?
When I had a big birthday when I turned 16. When I turned 18, I did something big with Marcus, who's my best friend, and my dad and his dad. And then when I turned 21, I did the whole Vegas thing, and I did 25. I went to Mexico. So all the monumental birthdays,
for
Americans, yeah. I've always celebrated something, but this year, with the plan, at this time in 2017, I was getting ready to turn 30. And why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because I'm remembering everything.
Oh. And I was getting ready to turn 30, and I actually wasn't going to do anything.
But this is also a monumental birthday.
Very big, I know. So internally, I really wanted to do something, but with the move and with the expenses that I knew were coming up,
you thought it was going to be
I just told myself I was trying to make peace with the idea that I wasn't going to do something big for my 30th. And my best friend, we're 3 days apart. We've always celebrated our birthdays together with all these monumental birthdays. And his wife had taken a job to across the country to Connecticut. He was in Arizona. And so he was going out to Connecticut to see her for his 30th. So
you were lonely.
I was lonely and we couldn't coordinate. Initially, I thought maybe we could coordinate something to do together for our 30th, keep the tradition going.
Gotcha.
So when I knew he was moving, or not moving, but
going to be out of
town or already had plans, I just kind of threw the idea by the wayside and said, I'm not going to come to Cape Town. We're saving. So for me, it was like, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to do anything. And then luckily you kept putting the bug in my ear. I know you were itching for a travel. You were itching to go on vacation. You wanted to do something. And I think you had also booked a few jobs that you were slaying at the moment. So I think you were ready for a vacation.
I was ready to see you because it was already at that point 6 months of us not seeing each other. So that was kind of what we thought our limit would be.
Yeah. And so right around, and it was kind of a last minute booking, but I think the mid to end of June, I had some additional money come in for some jobs that I wasn't anticipating coming at that time.
Yeah, that persuaded you
and
to be open to
exactly. And so that extra cash flow came in, and I was like, all right, it was a praise, bro. It was in the cards. It's a sign from the gods,
as if you needed one,
that I need to celebrate my 30th.
I was going to celebrate for you anyway.
And so we decided, you had just had a friend come back from Thailand. And they were ranting and raving about their experience. The currency
exchange would be in our favor for both of us.
Yeah,
it was an easy choice to decide to head out there.
Yeah, the baht. The Thailand baht is their is their dollar, and so the US dollar and the South African rand is very strong compared to the baht. So
I did most of the planning.
Yeah, you had a travel agent.
Yes, I did. So she pretty much sorted that out for us in terms of trying to get the best flights and hotel deals. Oh, it happened to be a girl I was in school with.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what made the planning aspect easier. So what we had planned was that you were going to meet me in Thailand. Mm-hmm. You weren't going to come to Cape Town and us, travel together. And you got there a few hours before me?
No, I was there
not a whole day.
Yeah.
No, like the morning.
Okay,
and I got there the evening.
So prior to leaving, so we confirmed that we were going to go to Thailand. Roxy and the flight travel agent got everything sorted for us. I was arriving a little, I think, not a full 24 hours, but probably about 18 hours before Roxy. And the day before I left, I received in the mail the confirmation that the application to move forward with the visa process had been approved.
Oh, it happened that week.
It was like a couple of days before. But I was super excited. I thought this was, an early birthday present. Everything's in line. I had this money come in where the application had been approved to move forward.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go on this lavish vacation. And so I was super excited, on cloud nine. Not only am I going on this, holiday, but, I get this news to accompany us with. And so I get to Thailand, and the airlines are weird when you make that type of travel. I haven't experienced this before, but I arrived like 3:00 in the morning. And so when I arrived, I head to our hotel. We stayed at 2 different places. And where's the first place that what's the first city?
Phuket.
Oh yeah, we went to Phuket in Thailand firstly. But what was the city that we stayed?
We were in the city.
I know, but it was like Bansak, Merlin or something.
No, that was the second. Phuket.
Okay, so we went to Phuket and I arrived early. I tried to check in to our hotel and it wasn't ready. And
at that time of the morning.
Yeah. And okay. I mean, so what was I supposed to do? At first, I mean, I was lounging on the couches. They were extremely hospitable, really nice. I actually upgraded our room to this really nice poolside suite with you open up your sliding doors and you walk down into a pool. There was a waterfall. It was amazing, really, really nice, but I couldn't check into it yet. So I made the upgrade and the guy was like, hey, give us several hours. We can check you in earlier than your check-in time, but we just don't have anything for you right now. So because they were so hospitable, they made a call for me to the neighboring hotel and got me into one of the other vacant hotels. So I went over there and I slept for a few hours. I think they charged me a day rate. And then when I got up, I came back to our hotel. I checked in and I believe I still had like 5 or 6 hours before Roxy came in. So I did some exploring by myself, went to the market, because in Phuket, this was the main hub. This was where all the nightlife, all the restaurants, the markets were. And so I did some exploring on my own, grabbed some food.
Turned up a little
bit. I met some
lady boys.
No, babe.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
You don't even know the difference.
I met some friends at a bar. They were working there. Oh, they actually ended up taking me and Roxy out. They were not lady boys.
Okay.
Were they? Maybe they were. I don't think so. But extremely friendly. I was playing drinking games with them and then just waiting for Roxy's arrival. And then finally,
the queen touched down.
So go on. I'll let you take some.
Well, my experience was, by the time I got there, the hotel was ready, the room was ready.
How come you were surprised?
Okay. I never knew.
I set it up.
Okay. I never knew that he had upgraded the room. So when I arrived, you never met me in the front. They just took me to the...
I met you in the hallway, I think.
To the room. And then at the end of the corridor, I saw my Prince Charming standing outside the room, just waiting for me.
She almost humped me in the hallway.
Don't talk well, you ridiculous. It was like every other time we saw each other after months of not seeing each other. Happiness, tears of joy, excitement, it's surreal. Every time we saw each other was like the first or second time. So there was a lot of hugging and kissing and affection, and I was so blown away by this room and by the view and everything. I don't know. I couldn't even sleep. I also arrived late, I feel like, in the evening, but we probably went out.
Did we turn up that night?
We probably did.
Is that when we almost got
Ooh, that's a whole nother story. Are we telling that in this episode?
Maybe not.
There's a lot of things that happen in Thailand.
When we almost got sex trafficked?
Mm-hmm.
Save for that one.
For later. I do think we went out that night. We explored. There's like the main strip, which is similar to like Cape Town's Long Street, if you've ever been there, or maybe Miami's, the one by the beach. Like the most popular street in that city.
The Miami Strip.
Yeah, that's the one. So we did a lot of sightseeing that night. And every day after that, just taking in as much as we possibly could at the hotel, as well as doing the sightseeing, doing the touristy things. We had split our vacation because I think we were there for 2 weeks, or was it just under?
7 days, because we did 10 days. We did 7 and 3.
Yeah, okay. 7 and 3.
Yeah, 3 nights.
Not 4 and 3.
I don't think so.
That comes. Anyway, we split our time between being at that all-inclusive resort in Phuket to going to another one called Bang Sak Merlin, which was about an hour or longer drive outside of the
countryside,
city.
Yeah.
Countryside, but so beautiful, so breathtaking. That hotel and that experience really felt as though we were the only ones there. That's how it felt to me anyway. It was one of the hotels that were actually damaged by the tsunamis that happened many years before. So it was pretty newly built or rebuilt. And it was, I don't know, just like something out of a postcard, out of a movie, where you had the swim-up bars, same like at the previous resort. The beach was right there, so we could head out from the hotel, from the pool, take a few steps, and then, you're on the sand and you're at the ocean. That time was, I think, exactly what we needed after not seeing each other for so long, but also just the process of waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get into the details of the trip. We're going to do a review.
Yeah, we'll do a Thailand review.
We'll do a Thailand review of our experience, where we give specific detail of everything that happened. We got some funny stuff to share with you guys. But while we were on this trip, we got some email notifications from our attorney. Katie, and she congratulated us with this approval, and then this was the first misstep that our attorney made in our process. One of many that you will soon realize. But she informed us that the next steps were to set up the medical interview.
Yes, while we were in Thailand, she actually had asked us, do you want to have this conversation when you get back to your respective countries, because I know that you're on vacation, or do you want to have the conversation now so we can just touch base and, forge the way forward? And we were like, no ways, let's do it now. So we had a Skype call with her. And in that Skype call, she was, giving us the breakdown for the next step. And
and so the next step was the medical you
exam.
had to get a medical exam for both Roxanne and Yasmin
by a doctor that they choose. So you can't just go to any general practitioner. They actually choose. The consulate has a list of doctors that you are assigned almost. And yeah, as ridiculous as the dates are to see them and to have your test done, you don't have a choice but to go through them.
Mm-hmm. And then, what was I going to say?
So this is what was supposed to be planned.
Right. So it's the medical exam. And once you get the clearance of that, the next step is to set the appointment for the final interview. Mm. And so she explained to us, there's a U.S. consulate in Cape Town. But then there's the main one in Johannesburg. And so she explained to us that right now the interview or the medical exam was set up in...
The doctor was in Cape Town.
Sorry, excuse me. She had explained to us that the interview was set up in Johannesburg and that we could petition to have it switched in Cape Town. Again, one, we're saving money. It's a short flight. So right away I'm thinking, if it's possible to have it in Cape Town, why travel to Johannesburg? That's an extra flight cost for both Roxy and Yasmin. That just doesn't make any sense.
No sense.
With Cape Town having a consulate. Exactly.
Yeah.
If it wasn't possible, then that's a different story. But if you're my advising attorney and you tell me that you can petition to have it switched to
the city that your client lives in.
Exactly.
Of course, we're going to go with that option.
Exactly. So she gave us the two options. And again, me trying to be thorough, I asked her what kind of time frame are we looking at? If this is going to stall or delay the process, then I'm going to eat the cost and we'll just travel and go to Johannesburg. But she said, it only takes... Did she say... She have the audacity to say 3 weeks?
I asked her if everything went according to plan and smoothly with the doctor's visit as well as switching the interview, how much time are we looking at before we are able to get the visa approved and move? And she legit said 1 month. One full month. This is in July 2017. That was super exciting, but also like a shock to my system, because essentially you're saying I would need to wrap up everything for my child and myself and immigrate within 4 weeks.
Yeah. And so we decided on doing the petition to get it moved to the consulate in Cape Town. So that's where we stood. So now me and Roxy go back to vacationing. We have a plan in mind. This is what we're going to do. We're still excited. Business is sorted. We go back to vacation. We have
the best time.
The best time. Even I think we had more fun. I mean, Spain was nice because that was
where we got engaged.
We got engaged, but just our experience.
Thailand was amazing. Hands down, just like food, weather, mainly food. And weather.
Spicy.
I love the food there.
So we wrap up our trip in Thailand 10 days later, and I am so enthusiastic about how this process is moving along. And so much to the point, every time that we've seen each other prior, I've always gotten extremely emotional.
At the airport.
Choked up.
When it's time to say goodbye. Both of us.
Yeah, when it's time to say goodbye, the tears start coming. And I kid you not, this time I was so amped. And so sure about how quickly this process was going to take from here.
Like, too confident even.
It was more excitement than sadness, because in my mind
I'm gonna see you now.
I'm gonna see you soon. Don't cry, baby. Like,
totally. Mans didn't want to even hold on to me too long. You were just like, no, don't do it.
I'm gonna see you real soon.
I'm like, are you sure?
And so that's how.
That's how we ended off. That's how we said goodbye. It wasn't a long, drawn out hug, kiss, cry. It was just like,
It was
it's time to get ready.
It wasn't even. Yeah, I didn't even get to. I
feel deprived still.
Affection, and unbeknownst to me, I wouldn't have seen you again for over
18 months.
A year.
18 months.
And So we go back to our countries. We go back to business as usual. You're flourishing.
But also the foot's on the gas.
Yeah. The foot's on the gas. You're trying to kind of get your things sorted.
Yeah.
You're starting to sell off possessions. You had a vehicle that you were trying to sell. Do you want to talk about a little bit of that?
Well, we were doing within August, September, October, before we knew it, we were in the second month after Thailand and then the third. And at this point, we're still waiting for Katie to confirm whether or not our interview was able to be moved. And she started responding
less and less. Yeah. When we got back, so my birthday was in July. So right around August, mid-August, we saw a complete shift in the way she responded.
Sis did not keep the same
energy. She got
energy.
her money. And
she was on a retainer. So I had already been paying her month to month in dollars with the conversion. So over $2,500 each month was coming out of my account.
Yeah. And somebody that had been so thorough up to this point to all of a sudden going ghost. I mean ghost. Emails after emails. No response.
And then when she did reply, it was like, oh, the system's down at the consulate. Tech issues. Out of office replies.
Out of office replies.
No,
she said she's under the weather. She's not feeling.
I'm like, get
feeling
above
good.
The weather. ASAP.
It got to the point where now I'm a little bit of a pessimist. Sometimes
a little bit.
I look at the worst possible scenario. And so now my wheels are thinking like, man, we just gave this woman all this money. Is she a fraud? Or is she just this incompetent? Or is she just this lackadaisical with responding?
That's a new word. But I would give her the benefit of the doubt when she would say, oh, because at this point she starts getting ill now. So
yeah, she said her health was really bad,
getting compromised, and
to the point where we're almost thinking that it's fatal.
Yeah.
And we had some empathy initially, very early on, for her health. So we were being extremely understanding. But at some point, it got to where it's like, one, we're paying you. If you're so under the weather, if you have all these medical issues that you need to be seen by the doctor, get that sorted. But this is your business. Like, you need to have somebody come take the bulk of your responsibilities.
Absolutely.
To make sure that we're sorted.
You have a practice. You have a law firm under your name. You have paralegals that work with you. Pass the duchy, you know, to the left-hand side.
And so, yeah, and so
no sense.
In September, we're getting the run around. We still haven't heard anything. When she does respond, she's not answering any of the questions that I have. And finally, I sent a long email or a phone call.
Both.
Just tearing into her. Just telling her about herself and how unprofessional she was being. And she was so apologetic. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I'm going to do better. We're going to get, I'm feeling a little better.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm like, okay, I scared her into, getting back on track. And then I did some research. And we got an attorney. And mind you, side note, people, the immigration process is something you do not need an attorney for. It's not it's not a prerequisite. It's not a prerequisite. It's not a need. If you have the right forms, if you do your own research, you can file it on your own. it's not required to have an attorney file on your behalf. The whole purpose of an attorney is to make sure, to one, ease your life. We have life going on. There's 50 million things that we're doing. We decided as a luxury, let's just pay for an attorney. They'll submit the documents. We don't even have to think about it.
And to minimize that risk.
It will minimize the risk. We don't want to happen to miss one form that we didn't submit.
We didn't cross the one T or dot that I, and now
exactly. So declined. We're giving you this responsibility because you're supposed to be
an immigration specialist.
Right.
Shame.
And so because she wasn't responding, and because I started to see some behavioral patterns of not following through with what she said,
yep,
I had to take time on my own to start doing some research. And when I tell you I erupted with the news that I found, with my research, I come to find out that the type of visa or application that we're filing for, there is no petition. It can only be interviewed, or the interview can only
take place in Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg.
Cape Town was not an option to begin with.
Was never an option.
So where did she come on with that?
Yo.
This girl.
When I tell you, when I was reading this, I was fuming at the bits. I was so upset. So, like I normally do, I reached back out to her and I went in. How could you? What are you doing? This is your specialty. You're an immigration attorney. How are you going to tell us? I was like, now you're just playing games with us.
I feel like pulling up the emails right about now, them receipts.
Them receipts.
To read. I would maybe feel a little bit bad if I did them.
You were playing games with us.
Yeah.
You told us that it was only going to take a month. So we're sitting here waiting for some type of petition that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have to end up going to Johannesburg anyway.
Yeah.
No response to that. She responded, but nothing of substance that could make me believe that it was just a minor error.
Or a huge error on her part. She never really took responsibility for it.
Took
just
zero responsibility.
Like, whoops.
Just, I thought it was something that you
thought
you could do.
And then with the doctor's appointment, the reason why I hadn't gone for the doctor's, for that medical test, the medical exam with Yasmin, was because you needed to go within a 30-day period of your interview, because the doctor's office sends the documents, the results, straight to the consulate. So you have to be there you need to have seen the doctor and gone for your visa interview within a 30-day period. So therefore, there wasn't any point in scheduling this appointment to have the medical done.
Correct.
So what did she do once we find out that you can only do it in Johannesburg? There's still more issues. The system's down. I can't get hold of anyone. I'm struggling to get you an appointment. All like the weakest excuses. And this is around September, October, November, guys. Wow.
Yeah. And then finally,
in December, I think we found out that she managed to someone on the consulate side was able to manually schedule one for us. This is in December, 12 months after filing the first petition. And the appointment for the final visa interview.
And 6 months after our trip in Thailand.
6 months. Wow.
And at this time,
like we were the most patient.
Right. And at this time, now we're both itching to see each other because it's
another 6 months.
This has been our kind of the cap that we put on each other.
Yeah.
Every 5 to 6 months,
Yeah, well,
we were seeing each other. But now we're in this dilemma because in our minds, we know this travel's going to happen. She's still keeping us in the dark as to how long this really is going to take. And so we just didn't feel that it made sense to spend $1,200.
No, that was not even on the table.
And
it couldn't have been.
And then have to pack up and move also. So we literally just were biting the bullet until things moved forward.
Yeah.
And so like you said, in December,
she lets us know, okay, so your visa interview is scheduled for the last week of January. And now you can go ahead and make that doctor's appointment.
You want to tell them about that?
I had no idea how much it was going to cost up front. And then when I found out it was going to be 8,000 Rand, I was just like, what kind of tests are they doing that cost $700, $800? I mean, it's not 800, but...
For you and Yaz?
For me and Yaz.
Or the total?
For the total for both of us. But still, what would a regular doctor's visit be if you did not have insurance?
I mean, it's clearly they're doing it just to suck up.
It's a whole system.
Yeah.
That definitely looks out for each other. Someone's benefiting with these visa applications and doctor's exams. I mean, it went smoothly. Everything was fine. We did the medical exam. And then we obviously had to now just bite the bullet and put the money aside for a flight, a return ticket up to Johannesburg. And also that meant I needed to keep Yasmin out of school. This is the following year now. This is year after we started the process.
You get the medical. You finally get that.
We get it done and they send off the documents to Johannesburg.
Is this when you had to... No, it's not. I just answered my own question.
Okay.
So...
This is January 2018.
This is January. You had your medical.
Excuse me.
And now... Again, our immigration attorney is our counsel to make sure that we are sorted, that we have all preparation, talking points, make sure that we have all the documentation that we need for this interview. A whole year, a whole 6 months of time that she had to prepare us for this interview.
Yo.
Was it the week of? No. A couple days prior to Roxy and Yaz flying to Johannesburg for this interview.
Our interview was on a Monday and on a Wednesday. How many days is that before Monday?
Don't make me do
Too little. Then she lets me know.
5 days.
I don't even think she let me know. I think it was her paralegal who, sometimes they would email us and other times they would be quiet when we reached out to them. There were 2 other people in her office that were supposedly helping us. Someone else other than her had let me know that I needed to go and get a, police clearance. And I'm just like, okay, cool, great. It's Wednesday. We planned on leaving to Johannesburg on the Friday or the Saturday. So we were going to spend a few days with a friend of mine. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll get it done. I'm just going to go to the police station, have them take my fingerprints. They're going to check the system and obviously see that I'm no criminal. I got to the police station and the guy's like, no, ma'am, it's going to take 4 to 8 weeks.
What?
Wow. I don't know if I'm supposed to swear out the police, the whole system, the admin at the police. Like, what am I? I was like, there's no way that I have 4 to 8 weeks. I have waited 6 months for an interview for my visa, and I need a police clearance with me. That has to be my accompanying document when I go there on Monday. So I'm stressed out to the max.
I immediately send another one of those
special
loving
colorful
emails. Colorful. That's a great word. Colorful. Colorful. It is.
Yo, guys.
To Katie, trying to say,
just talking about it.
What exactly are we paying you for? You're supposed to prepare us for this interview?
Yo.
You're supposed to make sure we have all the documentation for this interview that had already been delayed 6 months now?
I was speechless.
And you tell us we need a document a few days before the interview? That takes 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 8 weeks. Depending. Because they send the document from wherever it is in the country to a different city, or to a city called Pretoria, which is where the head office of criminal records, the criminal record head office, I think that's what it's called. So I'm like, okay, Pretoria is close to Johannesburg. It's about an hour drive, if I'm not mistaken, or it may be shorter. So I decide to take it upon myself, take my child, we fly to Johannesburg, call an Uber, because now obviously you're in a city that you don't live. I didn't rent a car. I just had access to Uber. But because this head office was in like the neighboring city, I decided, okay, we're going to do everything we possibly can to go and get this document. Like, you can't deal with people over the phone. I'd been calling them for days. And it was almost like a DMV situation. You don't get very far. Or a home affairs situation in South Africa. Phoning is not, it's just not going to work out in your favor. So Yasmin and I hop on the train and we go. We get out of the train. I call an Uber. We go to this head office, and it's exactly like the DMV. It is pretty unorganized. There's a lot of people waiting in lines. You don't know if you're even going to be seen. We didn't have an appointment. I'm literally just walking in, bold. Like, someone's going to help me, because I'm just I just have so much conviction. Like, how can you not help me with my child? Wow. I'm just trying to think of the emotions I felt that day. But I mean, I eventually get to speak to someone behind the desk, and they're like, no, ma'am, no, sorry, ma'am. And they're telling me the same thing verbatim, that it takes 4 to 8 weeks. There's no way they can help me. And in my mind, I'm not a unicorn case. I know that this is something that someone else has definitely would have gone through before. Maybe not for my reason or the same reason as me, but surely I'm not the first person who needs a police clearance as in yesterday. So I know a plan can be made, or that was my belief. No one's able to help me. I speak to 2 people in the office. I'm like, at this point, let me speak to your manager. Okay, let me speak to the supervisor. Whoever's the highest ranking, let me speak to that person. My waterworks are about to come on. Okay? And this gentleman, I mean, he tried to calm me down. He tried to help me. He gave me an email address that I could email. But I mean, this is a Saturday afternoon and my interview's on Monday. So they can see the distress in my eyes. I told them everything that I've been waiting on and working towards and saving up for the past 6 months to 12 months is dependent on whether I have all my documents. And this is one of the most important documents that you have to have. Surely somebody can make a plan. Who do I need to phone? I'm about to bribe someone at this point. But I walked out there without anything. Just the phone number. They said they were going to expedite it somehow. And an email address. That's all I had. During this time in Johannesburg, the regular taxi drivers and the Uber, or the regular cab drivers and the Uber drivers were in some kind of war with each other, because I guess people that owned cabs prior to Uber coming into South Africa.
The union taxis.
Yeah, like the union taxis
were
really...
Uber was stealing their business. Felt like they're...
In their mind and their thoughts on the matter was that Uber was stealing their business and Uber needed to go. So I did not realize how intense this taxi war was until that day that I took Yasmin to Pretoria. I called her Uber once we were done at the head office. All I want to do right now is get back to Johannesburg with my child because I'm feeling pretty defeated. I had 2 Ubers cancel on me. Once I don't know why they did, but 2 Ubers canceled. The third one comes and picks us up. He sees the location. We're trying to go back to the train station. He says to me, I'm going to drop you close by. At the traffic light, you have to get out. I'm like, excuse me? No, you've got to take me to the entrance. I'm with my child and that's what I'm paying for. And he's like, no, it's not safe. I can't do that. And I cannot for the life of me understand what this man is talking about. So by the time we get close to a traffic light, he's like, get out, get out, get out. I'm like, what is going on? I'm just like, okay, yes, get the bag and let's get out. Before our doors were even fully open, there were at least 4 guys that were running towards the Uber that we were in with bricks in their hands. I don't even know what other weapons, but they must have the Uber app on their phone or some way of determining that this is an Uber driver, this is not a union cab, and he's got to go. So they basically wanted to attack the driver, whether we were inside the vehicle or not. Yasmin and I jump out of the car on a main street with a green light. And I'm just like so shook at this point. I'm like, let's go. And we're running across the street. Those guys surround the car. These security guards that are in the surrounding businesses just watching. No one does anything. And I'm too scared at this point to even look back. So we ran as fast as we possibly could into the train station. As soon as we got in there, we were like, okay, let's just breathe. And Yasmin was so distraught. She's like, Mommy, what are they doing to that man? Like, why didn't the security guard say anything or do anything? And I don't even know what to tell her at this point to calm her down. Long story short, by the time we get back to Johannesburg, I get a notification that 5-minute Uber ride was about $40 because he wasn't even able to cancel the ride. They had gotten in his car and drove with this poor Uber driver to some random location, smashed in his windows. Just a whole mess that day. I blame Katie for putting us in that situation. I feel like that entire day could have been avoided if she just did her job. That was emotionally distressed. Like, we were emotionally distressed.
Plug. Katie, what's her name?
Sareshti.
Katie Sharesti. Don't ever think twice about working with this woman.
Don't do it.
Continue, babe.
So, this is on a Saturday. We get home safely, thank the Lord. We don't know what else to do at this point, but try and take it easy because it's literally out of our control. So you try and calm me down. My friends in Johannesburg, Trevor and whoever I was with, try to calm me down. And we just, we chop it up and just say, God is going to make a way because this is outside of our control. So what more can you possibly do? On the Monday morning, Katie and I are supposed to have a Skype call just to run over things on the Sunday. And she was supposed to just do that step by step, go through the interview process with me. And I don't even remember. I kept waiting for her. And she didn't show up. I think I had sent you, I'm just like, she's not coming online. I don't even remember what we had discussed. But I just knew I was going to go to this interview with Yasmin with everything that I knew, with my story, with my documents that I had. And I wake up on the Monday morning, the morning of the interview, and this woman didn't show up to our Skype meeting that she was supposed to have with me to prepare me, she doesn't show up, but she sends me 70 pages. 70 pages that I need to go print before my interview on that same day. I'm like, yo, wow.
I sent another one of those colorful.
I just don't
emails.
understand what could possibly be going through your mind to be. In Afrikaans we say fuck man, and vertraag like you delayed.
Vertraag.
Wow, that's bad. But okay, you get a pass right now. What was I gonna do? I just went. I found like the closest postnet or some type of printing place, and I went and printed it out, rushed. We got Yaz and we went off to our interview.
Oh, we'll reimburse you.
She did say that.
We'll reimburse you the cost.
I'll reimburse. Shoo, I will reimburse your face. I can't. She really upset me. But I'm ready for the interview. Let's go. We arrive at the consulate. Yaz and I are outside taking selfies with the American flag in the back, because this is it, man. This is that moment that we were waiting for 6 months. And we're here now. Go inside. It's very cold when you walk in those doors. They're very, it's just very cold. No one's really friendly or smiling. I felt almost like I was being treated like a criminal, like I did something wrong. No phones allowed. Searching your bag, searching your person. You can't even really speak to each other. It was pretty intense. Go inside, go through like various security measures, get inside to the main building, and we're sitting around, waiting. We see one person, waiting again, waiting, and it's just like, we've been here over an hour, and then it's 2 hours, and I'm like, we had an appointment. What's taking so long? Finally, they call our number. Yo, I'm excited, because I have everything that I need, and God's taking care of that police clearance, right? Get to the window, smiling, positive energy, ready to answer the questions. And the interviewer asks me, actually, he doesn't ask me anything. He's very clinical, quite expressionless. And he says, "Hi, ma'am. Yasmin's dad called the consulate."
And what do you think?
He said, "What do you think happened? Let me know." Because not even I knew.
Wow, guys. This is getting intense. There is so much to unravel. As you can see, this attorney is putting us through hell. And I wish I could say it got better from here. But the rest is gonna have to wait. Woo!
Yeah, let's just breathe. Let's all take a what's the word? Like a unanimous deep breath in all together now on 3. 1, 2, 3. Because you're gonna need it.
We want to thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Going the Distance with NikoRox. If you've enjoyed this episode, if the story has resonated with you, if you feel our pain, please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Also, very important, we love to interact with our guests, with our listeners. So if you have any questions, please direct them to Nikolai.Roxanne @gmail.com. My name is Nikolai. This is my beautiful, beautiful wife, Roxanne, aka Rock Sizzle, and we are out. Peace and love.
Bye. Guys, I think you meant like when you said guests, you were projecting, right? It's like future guests.
Future guests, yeah.
Manifestation.
Yo.
Thank you.
Drama.
Wow.
Like What's the Afrikaans word when I say my blood is warm? What do you guys call it?
My boss is warm.
Yeah, my boss is warm. Oh, just like reliving.
I'm even
this
sweating now.
Experience and rethinking about the messages and the conversations that I was trying to have with this attorney to just knock some sense into her. Man.
Or knock her out. I don't know, whichever one.
Is a lot. But look, we're here now.
We're standing. We're still standing and sitting.
We made it through.
Yes, Lord.
We saw light eventually at the end of the tunnel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are so thankful and blessed that you are enjoying our content and
that you're sharing with your friends. Oh, I love a good sharer.
Friends, referrals. Bring them in. This is a community, people. We love it. The more, the merrier. Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned because next week is going to be some drama.
Don't forget to subscribe, no? Click the little bell. Little bell.
Ding. Peace and love, guys.